So, welcome everybody. Glad you guys are here. Those of you who are watching online, we're glad you're here. Come on up, come on up, come on up. Come on up. Have a seat right there. So, we're just starting today. This is, I don't even know what it is. It might be our 11th or 12th meeting. It is November 1st. It's our youngest daughter's birthday. Happy birthday, Yvette, if you're watching. And today what we're going to do is we're going to do more of a current aspect of Israel 101. Usually, as you know, we go through each tour day. We cover the background, the biblical significance, all that's going on in the background. Today, not so much. It's going to be current. What does Jerusalem look like today? We're going to spend the first 10 minutes or so just getting documents ready and getting some information ready and getting to meet some of the folks that are here. So, Monica, if you could stand up and say hi to the camera so they know who you are.
Hi.
That's Monica. That's Mom next to her. Go ahead, Rachel, please. This is Rachel.
Hello.
Lisa is not here today, but her husband is David. That's David.
Hi.
Lisa and David will be going. Miss Campbell. This is Mrs. Campbell. People call her Leela, but I call her Mrs. Campbell. And this is Sandy. Sandy went on our trip last time we went to Israel.
Hello.
Her daughter Brigitte is sitting next to her, but she's not there, and she probably won't be here today because she feels, I've got this. So she's there. Linda, also known as Helen. that's
Call me Helen.
Since when?
Or Kathy.
5 letters. I remember there was a letters. I've called her Helen. I don't know how many
Well,
times.
mine is 5 letters too.
Mrs. Campbell, it's 8. I go by you. Roman? This is Roman. Roman has been traveling. Those of you who just met him now, Roman has traveled literally all over the world. He's a major traveler, and the hardest part for Roman in this trip is going to be keeping him in the tour group because that's Roman. Miss Phoebe, go ahead. This is Roman's wife.
I'm Phoebe.
And they are newlyweds of about 5 years. Sweet. Glad you guys are here.
It's the only honeymoon.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Never ends.
This is my bride, Connie. Stand up, please.
Hi,
This is
everybody.
Miss Connie. And we have somebody new checking us out.
Yay.
Introduce yourself.
Juanita.
This is Juanita. Juanita made some
Great.
unbelievable upside-down pineapple cake. It was really good today. We had a big old dinner today. It was fantastic. Howard, stick your face in the camera there. You can get in there.
Hey everyone.
Okay, there's Howard.
And my name's Margie.
Stand up and look at the people are going to be wanting to know who Margie is. That's
Hello,
Margie.
My name's Margie.
There we
Dunn.
go. Margie, welcome. Margie's getting some information. Juanita's getting some information today. So, what I wanted to talk about today and why this is so very important is, as you probably have heard, New Mexico driver's license are not going to be able to be used to go on commercial airlines starting the first of the year. So you're gonna, if you're from New Mexico and you have a driver's license, you will not be able to board planes. You have to have a passport. How does that affect us? Everybody in New Mexico is trying to get passports now. So you're going to be in the midst of a group of people. James was telling me he was going to go out Tuesday on the east side of the mountains to get his passport. I'll do it tomorrow. I can't imagine James procrastinating. I can't imagine you did that, James. But, so he went out Wednesday instead. Well, Tuesday they announced it. So he went out there Wednesday and the line was out the door
Oh,
on the east side of the mountain. And he goes, oh no. They're only open on the east side of the mountain from 10 to 2:30, 10:30 to 2. So he's going to have to, take a day off from school, probably get out there at 9 o'clock, be one of the first ones when they open up, so at 10:30 you can go. I would encourage you when you go get your passport information, it might not be a bad idea, it's up to you. If the lines are going to be like this, you might have your passport picture with you, so when you go you can just do a one-time thing. But you want to get on those passports very, very soon, very soon. I've got packets afterward, and also the registration forms. I'm going to be sending those in this week. And I've got about almost 20 now, I think, we have to send in. I've got to send those in with $500 deposit. So I need the $500 deposit to reserve your place on the tour. Now there's 20 now, and I know of about another 10 who are like 99% certain that are going to go. So I'm going to guess that's about 30, and I'm going to guess that 3 or 4 will drop off. So we'll probably have between 25 and 35 that'll go, because I know there's still be more people going all the time. So we're looking at about that size of trip. So it'll be a pretty small trip, be a nice trip. For the new folks, this will be our 9th trip leading to Israel. We've had small trips as small as 17. The largest trip I took was 76 people.
No.
So it's just a range of folks. So it's just a range. The last trip, the only one trip from this church was 3 or 4 years ago, whatever it was. And I think we took 25. There's a couple of pictures outside. You can see out in the area of this other room over here. And there's, there are about 25 of us on that group. So we've done this quite a little bit. I've always used the same tour company. The owner of the tour company, if you are familiar with Christian names, he has led tours for Charles Stanley, Chuck Swindoll, Billy Graham, Chuck Smith. Here locally, Skip Heitzig, Greg Laurie, Raul Reese. And when I was involved with the Calvaries, I became friends with him. And then I became friends with his kids. He's a little bit older man. So I've been friends with the family, invited to their kids' weddings in Israel. He and his wife have spent times at our home in Santa Fe. We were friends. So because of that, we get some special treatments, which are really nice. And it's sweet. So we're going to see a few things that most tour groups don't get to go. And we get a little bit of, well, you saw it. We get a little bit spoiled. It's nice. So it's pretty good. So it's a sweet thing. It's a pretty good thing. As I mentioned before, some of you have heard, this trip is dangerous. You can be raped, kidnapped, robbed, murdered. But once we get through Albuquerque and get in the plane and get out of there, we'll be fine. It's just getting out of here. This is the issue. So we'll stick close together here and then we're good to go. As far as Israel, it's pretty difficult to get in trouble over there if you don't be foolish. I was foolish on one trip and I went down the wrong street. And it was foolish. And I'll never do that again. So learn from my foolishness.
You were young.
What's that?
You were young, right?
Not that young.
Oh.
I was, yeah. But it was before, yeah, I was young.
Yeah.
I was like 32. And, but it was just a foolish thing. And then I had one of my own guys did something kind of foolish, but we stopped it quickly. And it was just buying, when we were walking through on the Via della Rosa to go out to, we'll talk about this later, to Damascus Gate. There are tons of people. We're going through the Muslim quarter. It's tons of shops, tons of people. It's fun, it's exciting, and they've got good deals for you. Mister, I've got a good deal. Come, Mister. And my guy, he was my CFO, my chief financial officer of the church. He knows better. I had at the end of the group to make certain nobody would do what he did. And he did it. And he went down this little alley, and then the people just closed off, and he was there by himself. And that was a big mistake. Don't do that. So stay with the group. We have plenty of time to shop. We're going to take you to places. We're not going to just have you shop in the Jewish quarter and the Christian quarter. We spend a lot of time in the Muslim quarter. In fact, it's really fun in this area over here. You're going to have a blast over here on a night after dinner. We'll go over here, we're going to have fun. And you get to barter and just have a blast. It's an awesome experience. It's a great experience. So it's not we're going to be anti-Muslim. It's safe here. This is not the Hamas. This is not the Palestinian. This is not where the trouble is. This is all very safe area if you know where not to go. So that's what we're going to make certain. That's it. Apart from that, it is safe as safe can be. It's just a fun trip. So I just wanted to mention that before we get started. So what we want to do is passports. I need your passports, a copy of your passports. I don't have your copy, by the way, Rich. I need a copy.
Yes, you do.
I know I need to have one. So you need a copy. I've got yours. Yeah, I've got everybody else's in here. I've got Berger's. I've got yours, and I'll take another copy of yours. You had them for Bulgaria. But I'll take the one you have now, Roman, while you're getting the other one, and get yours too, Phoebe. So we just have those. And I have yours. Yeah, I have yours. So we're good. Don't have yours yet. And David, you're going to order one?
Pending.
Okay. Have you ordered it? Not yet.
We've got the application,
Okay.
gotta go around.
Okay, good. Okay, so get passports. If you're going to go, we need passports. Okay, we have that. Insurance, we're going to talk about the insurance, the trip insurance. The trip insurance is mainly for you if you get sick and you cannot make it. If you have a pre-existing condition of 60 days prior to the trip, it's not going to, prior to getting it out, it's not going to cover it. So you have to have a clean bill of health for 60 days and they do it. So, but I'll get these little packets, you can read through them, and then we'll talk about them next week, and then you should send those in if you're going to get the trip insurance. It's cancellation insurance is what it is. So it's just in case of a natural disaster, an act of war, your own personal health, a death in the family. My parents had that happen to them. They're going to go with me on one of the trips, and my grandma fell down a flight of steps, was in a coma for 2 months, and they were able to use it for that of all things, and it worked. So it does work. If you don't get it, and for some reason you can't go, we do try and sell it at a discounted price to somebody who has a passport, and we've done that many times. And it's amazing. There are people that'll, yeah, I'll save $1,000, I'll do it. So you're happy and they're happy. They get a trip for $3,000. If you don't go, and you get 3 of your 4,000 back, or 4 of your 5,000 back, or you take the deluxe package and you pay the 28,000. But so, just playing. But at any rate, here we are. Let's get started. Okay. Any questions on that part of it? Passports. Fill out the form. We're going to send all that in this week. You look at the cancellation insurance, we should be good to go. We need a $500 deposit to hold your spot. With that, they're gonna go ahead and start taking care of things. And then whatever the next deadline was, you'll see it on the form, I think it's December 1st or
February.
February 1st.
Right.
That is, whatever it is, another $1,000, I think. And that one we have to have on time because that's gonna be your flight. So we're gonna have the hotels and the flight with those two, the down payment on it, and the rest is due sometime in April, I believe, something like that, okay. All right, here we go. So on this next day that we're gonna be going, we're gonna be on the day 11. It'll be Sunday, June 19th. Last week we went to the Temple Mount. We spent the entire time on the Temple Mount, saw the significance. Have you noticed that the stabbings in Israel have stopped? Have you noticed that?
Yes.
There's no more stabbings in Israel. Remember it was going on like everything? And it stopped. Remember we talked last week it probably would stop? The cameras. The whole thing was the Temple Mount. That's what was causing that. Because there were rumors going out that the Jews were trying to change the status of the Temple Mount. So they were riling up some of the young Muslim folks, Hamas was, saying the Jews are doing that, we need to go in and assassinate some of the Jews to make them stop changing the Temple Mount. So they started assassinating people. And if you remember, it was Secretary of State Kerry who came up with the idea. The United States actually came up with the idea. Let's just put cameras on the Temple Mount. There, take a look. Okay, guys, tell us, because the young Arabs cannot go up there because of the stuff they've caused them in the past. So here's the cameras, there's what's going on, and they go, oh, it's not happening, and it's not. The significance for us as Christians is the book of Revelation, where the two witnesses are killed in the book of Revelation, the whole world sees them rise. We now have the cameras in place. This is interesting to me. This is just interesting. So it's kind of fun. But at any rate, here we go. That was last week. We go to the Temple Mount on day 11 first. After the Temple Mount, we're going to go, it says, to, it's called the Wailing Wall on here, but they don't refer to it as the Wailing Wall much anymore since I don't even know when. It's 67. Since 1967. I got it, baby. I'll just put this Bible in. 1967. They stopped calling it the Wailing Wall. It's now called the Western Wall. It's that retaining wall we talked about a little bit last week. So the retaining wall is this part, this section right here of the Temple Mount. This. And it is not, it's on the western side of the Temple Mount. It is not part of any tabernacle, temple, mosque. It's a retaining wall. But it's a big retaining wall. It's a tall, it's probably 4 stories high, the retaining wall. So it's a very tall wall. The blocks would not fit, the one block would not fit in this room. Some of the blocks wouldn't fit in our sanctuary. Some of the most amazing things, as a contractor, it's going to blow your mind when you see it, because these blocks are huge. You put a car next to the blocks, and just one block on that wailing, or on that western wall, a car would look like this to it. And that's one block. And they just go up and up and up. It's just the most amazing thing. So this western wall is very important to the Jew because this is as close as they can get to the original temple that was up there. We talked about the Temple Mount, where the temple was. We talked about where the Dome of the Rock is. We talked about the Alaska Mosque. We talked about the, well, my dome isn't lined up right with this gate, but we'll talk about it. I'll change that in a minute. But we talked about the possible Dome of the Spirits. We hit all that last week and the significance of it all. But this right here is the holiest area for the Jew. It's the closest they can get to where the Holy of Holies was 2,000 years ago without going into Arab country, because this is all Jordanian controlled, remember. So they come here, and this is where they pray. This is where they take little prayers and put it on little pieces of paper and stick it between the stones and the rocks and all. Right here. There's going to be a divider here when we get there. The men will be over here. The women will be over here. The men, even the Gentiles, we can go up to the wall. But they're going to ask us to cover our head. They're going to give us something called a yarmulke. And it's a piece of cardboard. It's not a fancy one. It's a little piece of cardboard. And the tendency is you put it on and you kind of feel like, really? But realize that's very important to them. So when we laugh about that, we are disrespecting them. So we don't disrespect them. And you can take a picture, but do it discreetly. But don't say, oh, Howard, look at you, you got the hat on. Don't do that, because that's disrespectful. This is their holiest site. And we're sitting there joking about the cardboard hat that us Gentiles in their mind are so stupid, we didn't even know to bring something to cover our head. So they are graciously giving us something, and we're making light of it. So don't do that. Don't do that. So we will go there with the little gown, we'll put it on. And it's a unique experience to go there. You're going to see the Jewish men praying there. And it's pretty sweet to see. Is that fan causing that, Rachel, a little bit? Is that the fan kind of antagonizing that? You sure?
Yeah.
Because if it is, we'll just turn the fan off. No big thing. But it's one of those things that you'll see the Jewish men praying. And you'll see some interesting components of their prayer. Again, don't point and laugh, just observe. But it's very unique. You'll see the Jewish men by the wall, they have their hand on the wall, be very sincere praying, and they're rocking like this. They'll be rocking back and forth, back and forth. Well, check out the guy rocking. Don't do that. If you want a picture, if you want a video, you can. Do it discreetly and it'll be fine. But just remember where we are. Very important for them. I've asked in the past why they do that, and they believe it helps them concentrate more, be less distracted. I have tried it a number of times. It actually works. It's kind of crazy when you're praying by yourself. There's a motion, any kind of motion will stop your mind from wandering a little bit more. It's just kind of weird, but it works. So you'll see that there. So we'll spend some time here. The women will be on this side, the same thing. You can go put prayers in there and everything, but they're very definite about keeping the two separate. We might see a bar mitzvah or a bat mitzvah. It's the coming of age for the man or the woman in Judaism at age 12. That was the age Jesus was when he went to the temple for the first time in the Gospels. So if you see that, you'll see a big celebration. It's a lot of fun. Depending when day we're going to be there on Sunday, it probably won't be as busy. Good. But sometimes if you're there on the wrong time during holidays and that, there'll be like 10,000 people here. And then it's like, oh man. Otherwise it might be a couple hundred. It's sweet. So we'll go from here to here. We're going to need our passport here. Remember, this is Jordanian controlled. We'll tell you. But you need your passport. We're going into Jordan-controlled area up here. Okay, from there we go to something called the Ophel. And the Ophel is a very unique place. It's on the southern end here of the Temple Mount. In some of your Bibles, it'll just be called the Old City of David or the City of David, the Ophel. And what's unique, sometimes it's double F, so it can go either way. What's unique about the Ophel is it's this old area of Jerusalem. Ophel means a hill, a mound. It's on the southern slope coming down this way right in here. And it's between the two valleys back in the day. Remember we talked about the different valleys of Jerusalem? We talked about the valley of the sons of Hinnom here. Jesus referred to it. That was the dump in Jesus' day. It's where they burned their garbage. It's where they burned the indigent bodies. There was always flames down here, and it was the sons of a guy by the name of Hinnom who owned this land. It was called the Valley of the Sons of Hinnom. In Greek it was Gehenna, translated into English as hell. So when Jesus talked about Gehenna, this was the Valley of Gehenna. It was a place of perpetual fire. And he talks about a real hell, but he compares it to these flames that never went out down here in the Valley of Gehenna. When we go to Jerusalem on this trip, they have turned this into a park. It's a very nice park. It's kind of fun, and if you get a chance, you should go there and just have an ice cream cone, have a Coke, take a sandwich or even a piece of bread from breakfast and cheese on it, and sit down with some of your friends on your day off and just sit at the park and have lunch. And you can say, hell is no picnic. Well, it was there. Because that's Gehenna. And it's very nice. It's very nice. So that's just modern day, one of the fun things. But this is the valley that Jesus was referring to. There was another valley, remember on this side, called the Kidron Valley. It was here that Melchizedek came and out and met Abraham when he's coming back from his rescuing Lot. Remember in Genesis 14 we talked about in our Hebrew study. So here's the Mount of Olives, the Garden of Gethsemane. All that's right over here. There was another valley that's no longer here. They filled it in. But it used to go all the way up through here. And that was called the Cheesemakers Valley, or the Tyropian Valley. So the Tyropian Valley, the Valley of the Sons of Hinnom, the Kidron Valley. The Ophel is right between these three valleys with the Temple Mount to the north. So this is the Ophel. This is a very interesting place when we look at it because you're going to see a lot of old, it looks like apartments and houses built on top of each other. And it's gonna make you feel sort of like you're in a third world country when you look over here. Now, they've been slowly cleaning it out. The last time I was here, it looked much better than it used to, so they're working on cleaning this out. Because of the archaeological significance, they started digging here, and they found things from the time of David. They found the shaft that Joab went up when he took over the city. They found the walls that used to surround this when it was a Jebusite city. They found the wall of Hezekiah. They've got all this stuff here. So we spent quite a bit of time looking at this, and we're gonna go through this in detail later on about some of these different sites, so we'll have the biblical background for it. But it's a very significant dig, some interesting things here. So we'll spend just a brief time in the Ophel, but this one I wanted you to be aware of what this is. It's pretty interesting. They did find 4 feet below, only 4 feet, which is not much. It's about here probably. This is the highway. They've been going down. Jerusalem, remember, has been destroyed 28 times. So when it's destroyed, they just knock everything else down and build it again. Knock it down, build it again. Well, just 4 feet down, they found, I want to make sure I get the right thing here. Yeah, a tower is the word for it in Hebrew, but it dates back to the period of Elisha in 2 Kings. Only 4 feet down. So that got them very excited, because that tells us there hasn't been a lot of stuff on here. So even when we go back now, there's going to be a lot more stuff from the time of Elisha. So we got quite a little bit of discovery going on in the Ophel. So this is a pretty interesting little place here. So the Ophel. We'll spend some time in the Ophel. From the Ophel, we're going to hit over to the Western Wall Tunnel. So it's kind of interesting. We go here, then we do here. We have lunch over here. Then we go back over here, and this is not far. And we go over here, and this is one of the things that we get only because we know David. But there's a tunnel that goes all the way this way underneath the Muslim quarter. And we have a chance to go underneath here, and we get to see a little bit more of the walls here, but we also will see a few of the Jews in here doing their studies, their prayers. My son-in-law, Brian, who co-leads this team with me, he looks Jewish. So when we went in there, he and I went in there this last trip. And we were in there, and they saw him with his little yarmulke on, and they just assumed he was Jewish. So they gave him a prayer shawl to pray. The whole thing, he's, what's going on here? They think you're Jewish. Oh man, they used to think I was Jewish, and he grew up in New York. They used to think I was Jewish in New York too. Oh man. And he said, I'm not Jewish. You're not? No. Why not? Like, you should be. You know, it was funny. It was funny. But there, you'll see people in here studying, praying. It's sort of like the upper echelon. This is for the tourists, and here's a little bit more. As we keep going in over here, we're going to get, Lord willing, we'll be able to come all the way over to here. And we get to see some of the stones again. We'll be seeing them on the upper part, but we'll see them here too, of the fortress. And some of the actual stones that were definitely there in the days of Jesus. So it's just kind of an interesting thing to know that the Lord probably walked on these. It's kind of weird. It's a weird feeling, but it's pretty cool. So we'll get a chance to go in there. That's going to be the tunnel over there on the western wall. Then after that, did you go in that, Sandy, last time? I don't think you did you?
I don't remember that at all.
Yeah, I don't think he let us go in. So Brian and I just went in there. But we're trying to get the tour group in there this time, so we should be able to. With David, we always do.
Are the women going to be able to go in there
Yes,
too?
yes. Yeah, we should if it works. I'll talk to David. I talked to David before, so I want the group to go and he's going to work on it. Ariel said, I don't think we can go in there. And I go, oh. So I met with David afterwards. Said, we didn't go in. He goes, oh, I will get it next time. So I'm sure we will. I'm sure we will. So we got that. Okay, now, this is the other thing I want us just to know. This is just for your information, is there's a wall that goes around the old Jerusalem. This was not the wall from the days of Jesus. This was the wall from the Ottoman Empire in the 16th century. But it was built on top of the wall. This follows the same line where the wall was when Rome destroyed Jerusalem in 70 AD. So you're going to see the same dimensions, but it's an Ottoman wall. And that's important so we don't go there and say, oh, Jesus probably walked on top of this one. No, it's an Ottoman wall. It's an Ottoman, it's a Turkish wall. But it's the same type of thing. So the wall goes here, and it is a fun thing. You're going to get a day off, shop, have fun. If you want to get some exercise and get a unique experience, you can walk this wall. You go up in a gate, and you just walk this wall. And you get a chance to see all the quarters as you're walking around, All this is modern Jerusalem out here. You're gonna see all this. But you get a chance to see old Jerusalem as you walk the wall. And it's just a fun thing to do.
How big an area is that?
It's probably
mile
about,
or-
I would say it's probably about 1.5 miles, 2 miles.
Around the whole thing?
Circumference, yeah.
Mm.
It's not big, a couple miles maybe. I would guess, maybe. Okay, maybe 10, I don't know. Or 2 miles, I would guess maybe 2 miles. So that's the old wall. But inside of this now, everything is centered by here. This is that dome that you always see on the pictures, that golden dome, the Dome of the Rock, that Muslim. This is the rock, remember, we talk about because it's believed to be the rock, or it definitely commemorates the rock where Abraham offered Isaac, but then didn't at the last minute. And they built that dome on there because it was there that Muhammad said in his dream he went to a far place and had this vision. He took a horse to heaven and back. And he said, yeah, that far place was, it was the old Temple Mount in Jerusalem. This became the third holy site in the world for Islam, behind Mecca and Medina. So all of a sudden, this became a holy site. This is the Al-Aqsa Mosque. That is the holy, holy site. This is just the Dome of the Rock, but it's important for them as well. But the Al-Aqsa Mosque is everything for them. So this is the Temple Mount. For the Jew, it's a very special place. For the Muslim, it's a very special place. For a Christian, it's a place of interest because Jesus was there. It's where the temple was. It's important for us, but not as much as like the Jew or the Muslim. So this, everything centers on here. So here's the Temple Mount. From this Temple Mount, the wall then comes around, and inside this is Old Jerusalem. They divided it into 4 quarters. The Muslim quarter, the Jewish quarter, the Armenian quarter, the Christian quarter. Do not make the mistake of thinking, oh, in the Christian quarter, a bunch of Christians. Oh no, you get ripped off there just as easily as you will anywhere else. It's just called the Christian quarter. It does not mean, oh, Christians go here. You might have more fun in the Muslim quarter. You might have more fun in the Armenian quarter, or maybe in the Jewish quarter. It's just the name of the places. But you should know where they are. The Muslim quarter goes up against the Temple Mount. The Jewish quarter goes up against the Temple Mount. The Armenian is down here in the southwestern corner. And then the northwestern is the Christian corner. So just keep those in mind. I'll just give you a quick summation, really quick summation. I won't even do that. It's not necessary. You see what they are. That's plenty.
Can you tell when you're in one quarter versus?
You know, you can. That's a great question. You really can. The Jewish quarter, not a surprise, is very upscale. It's very nice. Yeah, very nice. The shops, very nice. The streets, pristine. Trees, plants, people that live there, their yards are really nice. Flower beds, it's nice, it's really nice. You go in a store there, if the price says 50 shekels, what that means is, if you want that, you have to pay 50 shekels. And if you go to them and say, I'll give you 45, they'll leave. This is the Jewish quarter. We don't barter for our stuff. What's wrong with you? You want to barter, you go over to the Muslim quarter. That's not here. That's not what you're going to get, I hate to say this, and it sounds so prejudiced, but I kind of am, I'll be honest, I am. The quality of the merchandise here is much, much better. So if you really want to get something of quality in the old city, this is a good place to go. You might pay an extra 10 shekels, another $5 for something. Instead of it being $20, you might pay 25. But it's going to be better quality. And it's going to be a really sweet experience. The downside is, on Shabbat, on Saturday, the whole place is closed. And that's our day off in Jerusalem. So it's going to be like, I'm going to go to the Jewish quarter and get some on our day off. A lot of luck with that, you're not going to. Unless you go in the evening, they might be open at night. So it's kind of tough to buy stuff there unless you just happen to hit you off at 4. So I'm going to go down to the Jewish quarter quick and get something. God bless. But that's the Jewish quarter. The Muslim quarter, just the opposite. It is like going to a carnival. It is so fun. It is so fun. It is just fun. You're going to come into Joppa Gate. That's going to be our gate. You walk along here. This is fun. A lot of fun stuff here. This is where you get a lot of ice cream and fun stuff here. Ice cream's a big thing over there. And then all of a sudden you come here and things change. You'll know right away. It's like, whoa, what's this? And it's like going to the fairway at the state fair on steroids. It's really fun. And it's bright and it's loud and there's music. It's all this Arab music. And they got these little shops and they got everything hanging. And the shop is smaller than this room a lot. It's just a small little shop. And they got everything just jammed in there. And they are so friendly, because you got something they want. That's it, they want that money. And they'll do anything legally in a fun way to get your money. But it's so fun. I've shared this before. Our middle daughter, Christy, has gone on every trip I've gone in Israel. She's been there 9 times. And this is one of her favorite places. She started going when she was 8, and she was 10, and 12, and 14, and 16, and 18. She just keeps going. She loves it there. She absolutely loves it there. She loves the bartering, and she's good at it. I can't believe it. My daughter's good at that. It's like, what's wrong with you? Why are you good at that? But she's really good at that, and she loves it. She just has fun. But you'll go in, and you'll see a T-shirt. It's a cool T-shirt. Maybe it's a Coca-Cola T-shirt in Hebrew. You go, that's cool. I want that. And how much is that? And they'll say, 10 shekels. Well, 10 shekels might be whatever that is. This is $4, $5. It's nothing. If you pay 10 shekels, they have no respect for you. And they give you like, what's wrong with you? Why would you pay 10 shekels? Are you crazy? So don't do that. You say 10 shekels, you go, I'll give you 3. And they'll make a big deal. 3 shekels! Oh my, oh, they start going crazy on you. And it's so fun. And they go nuts. They say, 3 shekels, I got a wife, I've got children, 3 shekels, you come across it. Look at you, your shoes cost more. What is wrong? And they go off on you. And you just go. For you, you look at a nice guy, 8 shekels. And you're going, I'll do it, but don't do it. Have fun with them, they love it. So I'll give you 4 shekels. And you go back and forth with this, and then don't buy it anyway. Walk down the street. And as you walk down the street, 10 minutes later, Mister, there he is.
Same guy.
Same guy, he found him. Mister, 6 shekels. He goes, 6 shekels. 6 shekels. What is 6 shekels? Just nothing. Okay, 6 shekels. If you say okay, then pay it.
Yeah.
He'll go back, he'll give you the shirt, you give him the 6 shekels, he'll give you a trinket on top of it, he'll give you a Coke, he'll just, you're friends. And you'll take the shirt, I got this for 6 shekels, this is fantastic! And then the next day you'll be somewhere and you'll see them, they're selling them 3 shirts for 2 shekels or something. It's like, but it's part of the experience. You'll take the shirt home, you put it in the washing machine, this beautiful red Coke shirt, you put it in the washing machine, it comes out and it's all white and everything in there's pink. And you go, oh man, it wasn't even worth 50 cents, was it? But it was so fun, who cares? It was the experience. If you, I want a good souvenir, they're not going to run. I still got them. These, it's experience. I don't remember that experience. Remember that experience. And for me, it's about the experience, not the shirt. So, don't be afraid to have fun with them. Treat them with respect, but have fun. Smile a lot. Don't look scared. Just smile. They're awesome. It's an awesome experience over here. We're going to go through here. You're going to see some things. Those of you that are from, if you've been to Mexico, or if you've been to like Chinatown, where you've seen in some of the different parts of some of the countries where they have the whole chicken, you know, just completely out there, and the bill still on the duck, and the pig sitting there dead. You're going to see some of that here. And it's just fun. It's just fun. You get a chance to see it. But we'll be there together. We'll be walking through, not on the ease when we're out shopping and having fun like that, but we'll be walking through this area.
I thought they didn't eat pork.
Muslim?
They do?
Oh, that, wow. No, they don't.
No.
But you'll see it. I promise you're going to see
Really?
it.
Yeah.
So take a look. You'll see it. Yeah, it's
Wow.
interesting. You're going to see all this stuff over there.
Think of them.
You're going to see all this. It's just the
Think about
weirdest
it.
thing in the world. You're going to see weird stuff. So it's okay. Enjoy it. Enjoy it. Take pictures of it. Have fun. Just when they say, I've got a good deal for you, come with me back here. No. No. And don't be here. I'll go back with you. No, don't go back, because they got 10 of them and it's you and your wife. That's not enough. Don't go back there. Just stay out here. You bring it out here to me. I'm not going out there. Forget about it. So it's going to be nothing but sweet. So these are the quarters. This is the Dome of the Rock, the Temple Mount. Muslim quarter, Jewish quarter. Christian quarter is not Christian, but it's nice. It's nice. There's going to be some nice open mall type areas, or not mall's not the right word, but it's a nice, yeah, it's like a mall. It's like an outdoor mall. It's almost like Uptown. They made it pretty nice in there. And this is where they have the music and the concerts and the stuff, and it's pretty nice. So it's just nice. The Armenian quarter, pretty much the same. It's nice. So you got real nice Boardwalk and Park Place. You've got Marvin Gardens, Illinois Avenue. and then you got like St. Charles Place, maybe even Baltic Avenue sometimes. So it's kinda, that's kinda what it's like. So you just kinda get a feel for that. Now what's interesting are these gates, and these gates are really important because that's how you find out where you are. And it's important. The gate tells you where you're going. So this gate is called Joppa. Guess what town it's going to?
Joppa.
Joppa is a right part of Tel Aviv, basically. So it's going to, the road would come out of here in the old days. Now Jerusalem's all over here. And it went up a 2-day trip to the Mediterranean Sea coast to Joppa. So it was called the Joppa Gate because that's how you got to Joppa, by going out that gate. So it's to the west. Damascus Gate, guess where that goes? Sure, that goes to the north, up to Damascus in Syria. So those two gates are pretty obvious. Zion Gate, they moved, this used to be Mount Zion, they moved Mount Zion over to here, which as we talked about is really confusing. So if you're in the Old Testament, Mount Zion is another name for the Temple Mount. But then they changed it and made this hill over here Mount Zion. So it just changed the name. And you can imagine how confusing that would be if all of a sudden we called the Sandias, not the Sandias anymore. You know, the Sandias aren't over here in the west, over here to, I don't know.
Mount Taylor.
Mount Taylor, that's the Sandias. It's like, man, that's messed up. But that's what happened, so it's confusing. So now Zion Gate is over here.
When did they change that?
Long time ago, say,
Biblical times?
yeah,
or-
2,000 years ago, long time ago, 2,500 years ago, long time. Before Jesus came, so a long time. The Dung Gate. You know what dung means? Still means that there too. Dung. It's Dung Gate. Remember what is down here? The dump yard.
Yeah.
It's the Dung Gate. That's where you brought all the, in quote, dung. But remember, at the time, there's camels, there's animals, everything goes down here. So that's where you go to get rid of the dung. So you got the Dung Gate, you got Mount Zion, or the Zion Gate, you got the Joppa Gate. The new gate is just that, it wasn't there. Now it is. Now it's a new gate. The Damascus Gate. Herod's Gate, I don't know why it's called Herod's Gate, but it is. I'm assuming he built it, knowing the way he builds things. The Lion's Gate, I have no idea why it's called the Lion's Gate. This gate I do know. The Golden Gate, also known as the Eastern Gate, because it's on the eastern side. Now, I'm going to change this a little bit, because this Dome of the Rock, I put the dome in the wrong place. There's the Dome of the Rock, he put it in the center. When they built it, they put it in the center. And over here, they have a little gazebo type of structure called the Dome of the Spirit. It's a real small one. But what's interesting, and the Golden Gate is right here. What's interesting about the Golden Gate is it is believed that the Messiah will come through the Golden Gate when he returns. So what did the Ottoman Emperor do, or the leader of the Ottoman Empire do? When he heard about that, he said, not on my watch. So he had that open gate, he just bricked it all in, and it still is. That's going to stop Jesus from getting in there. So there it is. So that's a blocked off eastern gate. And of course the question comes to the Jews, well, why don't you get rid of that? And they just say, you think that's going to stop our Messiah? Really? So they say, what? Whatever. So we'll see that blocked off. It's the eastern gate. It's all blocked off. What's unique about this is in antiquity, the main temple of the city lined up with the main gate of the city. This was the main gate of the city. And it was even before Jerusalem was destroyed in 70 AD. So this was the main gate. When you came into the city, you come in the Golden Gate. And if the temple's here, it's the only city of antiquity where it doesn't line up with the main gate to the city. Because of that, a Jewish historian archaeologist named Asher Kaufman proposed a theory. It's an interesting theory. He said, it seems to me, when we go up on the Temple Mount and look, they've got this Dome of the Spirits right here. The Muslims called that structure the Dome of the Spirits. We asked them why, we don't know. That's just the Dome of the Spirits. And it's just, when you'll see it when we're there, it's just out of place. It's just this little thing sitting over in a corner. Well, why is that there? It's just the Dome of the Spirits. Well, why? That's what it is, it's the Dome of the Spirits. Kaufman looked and he says, do you realize that lines up exactly with where the Jewish temple would have been if it lined up like every other city in antiquity, hundreds of them? So he said, what if that was the Holy of Holies right there? And what if that was the holy place? And what if this was the temple structure right here? And he placed the temple right there, and it lined up perfectly with that. And that was very significant to evangelicals. Because in the book of Ezekiel it says there's coming a day when the temple will be, and temple worship will be reestablished. But it'll take place, remember, under the okay of the Antichrist. And in Ezekiel it talks about a wall being placed on the Temple Mount that separates the profane from that temple. So Kaufman, he's a Jew, he's not an evangelical, he's just a regular Jewish dude. He just said, you know, if we follow Ezekiel literally, if we put a wall right there, they could have their mosque, they could have their Dome of the Rock, the Jews would have their temple, and temple worship could be established. And it got the Jews, of course, very excited at the possibilities. Some of the Jews said, there's not a chance in the world we're going to be able to do that with that sitting there. Not going to happen. But then there have been other Jews, when you go to the Temple Institute, the ones who are preparing for this temple worship, they said, you know, that could work. That could work. So now it's just going to be a matter of someone convincing Islam to allow that, and to convince Jews to allow that. Well, what's interesting when you get into biblical prophecy, it says that the Antichrist is going to bring this peace, and this is going to happen. He's going to establish this for 3.5 years. When you go to the Jews today and say, how are you going to know who your Messiah is? Because they don't believe Jesus is their Messiah. And you ask them, who's going to be your Messiah? How are you going to know who it is? So it's one thing. He's going to allow us to establish our worship on the temple. Exactly what the Bible says the Antichrist will do. So it's an interesting thing when we go up there. So when you're walking on the Temple Mount, this is like, this is where everything's centered right here. This is like everything right here. And I cannot begin to describe what happens to you. Because we'll go through these scriptures. We can't bring our Bibles up on the Temple Mount now because the Jordanians were not allowed to happen. But we'll talk about it the night before. We'll talk about it before we go. We talked about it last week. And as you know what you're seeing and you see it, something happens inside of you as you realize this is not just stories, probabilities, this is real. And it's something we have to really fight through because you know as kids we grow up and they tell us about the Easter Bunny, and he's not real. They tell you about Santa Claus, he's not real. They tell you about Jesus, and he is real. And this really starts to hit home like something you've never experienced. It's one of the most amazing things. And we're going to get that every day on this trip it happens. It's kind of, Sandy, would you confirm that or not?
Absolutely.
Why would you say that?
Well, I guess because you said it you said this before that, you know, you go on day one and you go through whatever it is you're going through, and it's so exciting, and you get to apply some knowledge, cement some knowledge, you know, everything's very exciting, the food is delicious, and then you think, wow, I just don't know how it's gonna get better. And then you go the next day and you have the same excitement, but you are building on it and adding to it. And then the next day you do it again, and the next day you do it again, and 2 weeks later, you're so tired, all your clothes are dirty, you're full all the time, but you're just, you know, whatever, and you're still so excited, and you just can't wait to get going where you're gonna see something else and add something else. And I don't actually, it's a God thing, because I cannot imagine how it builds on itself the way it does. It is so awesome. But it's a God thing. I can't explain it. He just blesses and blesses and blesses the people who are there.
It's pretty
It's
sweet.
amazing, yeah.
Connie, what do you think?
Oh, wow. You know, for me, it was the realization of knowing that I was walking on the same grounds that Jesus walked on in some places, that I was seeing the same sights that he was seeing. And, you know, the more you saw, the more the realization of the Bible just comes to the forefront. And you have your moments where you get, I'm gonna cry now, where you get emotional and you cry, and you have your moments where you just have that deep feeling inside your heart. And you just come back a changed person. It's just amazing. How Sandy says it just builds and builds and builds. And you know, by the end, you're just so full spiritually, but you've also had the experience of having a really good, you know, vacation at the same time, if you will, because you experience so much more.
It's pretty stinking sweet. So that's part of it. That's just part of it. You can't really describe it exactly. It's something you gotta feel. The downside of this trip, and I am serious, the downside of this trip is kind of ruin the rest of your vacations. Because this will become the new standard. What makes it so special is you can go on vacations and you can have great scenery, you can have great interaction with the culture, you can have great food, you can have, you know, all kinds of great things. We're gonna have that. But the spiritual aspect of this trip cannot be duplicated anywhere. I've gone to Turkey and the churches of the Revelation. I've had the opportunity to go to Italy and go through all the Italian sites and all. I've gone to Greece, I've gone to Corinth, and to Philippi, Thessalonica. I've had a chance to experience all that. Nothing is like this. This becomes numero uno. Every time people go, they come back and say the same thing. So this is going to be kind of an crazy experience for you. It does change your life, most definitely. What's nice about it, you know, is when you go on a trip, you have great memories and you have great pictures. On this trip, this becomes your photo. So you open up the Bible, and when you read, mind, you go right there. You're right there. You know what the Sea of Galilee looks like. You know the mountains around the Sea of Galilee. You know what it smells like. You know if the water is salt water or not salt water. You know. You don't have to read about it. You know. You know the Sea of Galilee is freshwater lake. You know that. You know the Dead Sea. Don't drink it. You know that. And you're gonna just pick up all these little things that you don't pick up in books, but the Bible just comes alive. You look at a map of Israel. We're gonna go back over the map of Israel again. We've done a little bit of geography, a little bit of topography. We'll go back over that again. But as you start to learn more and more of Israel, when you get there and you see it, it just falls in place. And you will be so prepared for this tour, so prepared for this trip, that when you see things, you go, got it, and got it. And it's pretty cool. Now, the Damascus Gate is significant for us as Christians. You heard of the Via Dolorosa. We'll look at that a little bit more, the Way of the Cross. When Jesus, the Antonia Fortress was over here. After Jesus was condemned to die, he then was led through these back streets. We will walk this out the Damascus Gate. The question is, was he crucified here? Was he crucified here? Over here is a big church that you did not see, Sandy. It's called the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. And for years it was there that people said that's where Jesus was crucified and buried. So there are those who still believe that's where it is, and I've been there once, just a big ornate church, and it's fine. But over here, something very interesting takes place, because over here there's a bus station. There's nothing, it's a bus station. Are you serious? A bus station? Really? You go out to Damascus Gate, there's a bus station. And it's like, you don't see it. So on the last day, we'll cover that later, I'm going to take you over to here. And over here, the Brits have a piece of area that they have been entrusted to take care of for years and years and years. It's a beautiful, peaceful garden. And we have a communion service at the end of our tour there. Just a real sweet, contemplative type place. But if you stand right here and look from this Temple Mount area, this whole mountain range, this whole mountain here is called the Mountain of Moriah. And it starts here and it goes all the way down to here. So on the same mountain right over here, you're going to see a couple of caves and a little raised elevated area. And then you'll see the road alongside the outside of the wall, the way it was in Jesus' day. But right up in here, if you look at it from here and you're looking over here to this bottom part of this mountain, you will see something that looks like that.
Skull.
It's like a skull. And it became known as the place of the skull. And most believers believe that was the backdrop alongside this road outside of Jerusalem. That the Romans, as you know, they crucified thousands of people, would put crosses. So that when people are being crucified, and you're walking on this road outside of Jerusalem over here, you would see the people being tormented and killed publicly, public slow execution, with the image of a skull behind them, saying that's what happens when you become an insurrectionist. That's what happens when you stand up against Rome. So this became known as the place of the skull. Golgotha means skull. Calvarium, skull. Calvary literally means skull. So it's Calvary, the skull. When they realized that skull and realized where it was in that, it shifted. And instead of this being the traditional site, they said, no. Hello, it's called Calvary, and here's the skull. You'll see that. You'll have pictures, you'll see it. It's like, oh my gosh, look at that, this is crazy. We know the song, On a Hill Far Away, stood an old rugged cross. You'll see the skull. How do you get a cross up there? There wasn't no cross up there. That's a song. You want to be exact, it'd be in front of a hill far away, instead of an old rugged cross. Not on a hill. And I know that bums people out. Well, no, that's what it is. I got it in my head. No. Let's forget about tradition and songs. You'll go and see. You go, wow, look at that. So you're saying it was in front of it? Well, of course it was. Take a look. And you'll see it. What's interesting in this garden, we'll talk about this in a couple of weeks. They have a tomb in there, an empty tomb that's never been used. We'll talk significance. I'm not saying that's the tomb. I'm not saying that at all. But you'll get a chance to see what it looks like inside a tomb. You'll get a chance to go in. Could it be the tomb? Of course it could be. Could it be? Who knows? But it definitely shows us what it's like, and we get a chance to remember what Jesus did. So it's a really emotional kind of highlight of the whole trip right here. It's pretty crazy. So that's going out the Damascus Gate. When we go out the Damascus Gate, there's tons and tons of activity. A lot of shopping. This is where the guy was pulled off to that side. I got something for you, really? Don't do that. But that's where it is. You come out here, and there'll be, today there's a bus stop right here. A bunch of buses, and people talking everywhere. My goodness, that's Calvary right there. Look at what's going on.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what it is. Because our holy site is inside of us. That's the holy site. So, but you get a chance to see it. This is actually by a bus stop. Those kind of trees. Okay, so that's just the modern Jerusalem. Kinda got it? The reason this is important today, this meeting, is the passports. You've gotta get on those passports, guys. Gotta get on them. Gotta get on the passports. We need them. We need them badly. Get the passports. We need $500. We're gonna go, we need $500 per person before next weekend. I gotta send it in on Saturday, so I gotta have it by Friday. So, send it in, and we're good to go. If you don't have the passports by Friday, which you won't, we'll just say pending on there, but we need the deposit and that form filled out in my hands. So I gotta have it this week. Sweet. Any questions before we go on? Yeah.
Simple Mo, you can't take a Bible up there.
No.
Now, let's not Bibles on ourselves.
Yes, we do.
Out of respect, we don't look at them.
I'm not gonna say they would take it, but they could. Just depends how much you like your cell phone. They could take it. They could.
They take cameras and everything,
Yeah.
if you're
If you cause a problem,
doing
just
something that you shouldn't be doing.
I had my arm around my wife on the Temple Mount, and they came up and made me stop. It's like, wow, no PDAs on the Temple Mount. Okay.
You can't even have jewelry, right? Like if you have a cross or something, you can't wear anything, they'll take it from you.
But we get you all prepared for that up at the front.
Wow.
It's just there, that's the place. Yeah,
You know when the Jews go pray to the wall?
Yeah.
Some of them wear a square,
yeah,
a block, or what is it?
yeah, the phylacteries. They have something, they have black leather straps on their arms, and they have that little box in there. Inside the box is the Shema, Deuteronomy chapter 6. And it's, I don't have it memorized, I used to, but not anymore. I'm older. But in Deuteronomy chapter 6 it says this, and this is what they have written in there. And these words, it starts out in verse 4. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your strength. These which I command you today shall be in your heart. You shall teach them diligently to your children. You shall talk them in your house when you walk by the way, when you lie down, right here. You shall bind them as a sign on your hand, and they shall be as frontlets between your eyes. So based on that, that's why they wear that, and that's why they wear this. So that's just in there, so that's what that is. It's the phylacteries. So that's what that is. All right, okay. So if you need these, I will give them to you. I know you're thinking of going. I'll give that to you. There's 4 of you, is that right?
Do we have
2, 3, 4. That gives you all the little details of it.
Do we only need one?
We need one.
What's that? You need one?
Yeah.
What do you guys need, the form or the whole thing? Do you have one of these?
We have one of those.
You need,
before.
my wife got them. Oh, there they are, back there. Thank you. One of those.
Thank you.
Howard, do you have one of these?
Yeah, I have it already filled out.
You got it? Okay.
And one of those.
I'll just give these if you want.
Yeah, I don't need,
You're good?
yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
James, you got yours right here, so get it afterward, okay? You need one?
One of those.
One of those? There you need. And everyone else is good, is that right? Sweet.
What's your travel insurance thing, do you have that?
Got that right here. This is if you want it. You do this on your own, you just send it in if it's something you want. It's up to you. I personally have never had it yet, so far I've made it.
Never had it.
But sure, if you want it, I'm trying to give it to you, so. Something happens, it's on that. Just one of those if you need. Right here, let me give you, just in case you do want, because we've got them individualized. Did I give you 1 or 2, Dave? 1, there's 2. Okay, I think we're set. Ooh, okay, guys, good having you join us. See you next time. See you, bye.